Surprise, surprise, the leaker didn't leave and we got a lot of information for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Let's take a look. By the way, don't mind the balloons back there. Those are my 1,000,000 subscription balloons and I forgot to hang them up, so. All right, Central Leaks reporting on the fact that Primeape's evolution, yes indeed, getting an evolution, is going to be fighting and ghost typing, which is actually pretty cool considering its Pokedex description basically says it like fights itself and then dies, which is intense really, but Primeape getting a fighting and ghost evolution, much like my boy Marshadow, so it's not a unique typing, but could be really cool, and much needed buff for a Pokemon like Primeape, which otherwise has been kind of meh throughout its history. Murkrow apparently does not get a new evolution. That was actually a misunderstanding, and that's kind of how these things play out, right? You get these leaks, and sometimes there's mistranslations and things like that, but we're actually reversing that, and Murkrow not getting an evolution, which I am A-okay with, because I personally don't care about Murkrow at all. We mentioned in a previous video that the move tutor seemingly was gone from the game, but it seems as though the new move relearning system from Legends Arceus has returned, which allows you to freely and independently change your Pokemon's moves while out in the world, which I think is a phenomenal upgrade and a nice kind of thing that Pokemon is taking steps forward and not taking steps back, which historically they've done a lot of, so really excited to see that. And apparently these ancient and future Pokemon that we've been calling future, past, whatever Pokemon, they're actually called Paradox Pokemon. That is the word we have. Now whether or not that word changes when the translations take place to English and so on and so forth, we'll have to wait and see, but it does seem as though the latest thought is that they are called Paradox Pokemon. So Pokemon can both have future and past forms, but they are all lumped together as Paradox Pokemon. Since Generation 6 Pokemon X and Y, there was always kind of a feature where you can kind of play with your Pokemon, whether it was Pokemon Me, Pokemon Refresh, Pokemon Camp, and Sword and Shield. It is now called Pokemon Picnic. You can actually wash your Pokemon, give them baths and stuff like that, but apparently some Pokemon don't like to be washed. You can wash them and restore their HP and ultimately increase their friendship, and you can also get eggs. Now, we have heard from the leaker that the typical breeding mechanic is not in this game, so if that's the case, there might be a new way to get eggs, and that may be a way to ultimately get competitive Pokemon a little bit more streamlined, because as we know, competitive Pokemon and obtaining strong Pokemon is something that really is avoided by competitive players. A lot of people kind of hack, so often people don't breed and things of that nature. So for them to streamline that process, I think is only a positive for the franchise because it makes it a little less intimidating. I personally never minded, you know, going through the process of breeding for perfect stats and stuff, but it is very time consuming and it can take quite a while, and I think at this point in the franchise, it's time to move to a new mechanic. Before I dive into the rest of the leaks, I gotta tell you guys that Pokeloot is officially live. This is our craziest Pokeloot yet. You can actually grab it with this incredible Gen 1 t-shirt, 3 gold cards of the original starter Pokemon, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander, 3 plushies, a pack of Pokemon cards, 3 gold coins. Head over to Pokeloot.net and grab it now while supplies are available. This is a very limited drop. These are gonna go quick, so grab it now. This is the sickest Pokeloot we've ever done. Seriously, we just threw a ton of awesome stuff in there for Generation 1. It'll look great in your room, your house, your office, anything like that. Head over to Pokeloot.net and grab it right now. Don't delay. Apparently, a lot of these Paradox forms actually have retain their original typing. So Paradox Jigglypuff, which is a past form, and Paradox Delibird, which is a future form, are apparently their same typing. So Fairy, Normal, and Flying and Ice. Paradox Pokemon from the past are exclusive to Scarlet, whereas Paradox Pokemon from the future are exclusive to Violet, which makes a lot of sense given Koraidon and Miraidon, which that means that Koraidon and Miraidon are probably Paradox Pokemon in themselves. You can get as many Paradox Pokemon as you want from the endgame area, which is nice to know. These are not limited Pokemon. You can get multiple of them, which I think will be really nice. You can get the Rotom catalog via the new auctions mechanic. There is a new feature called auctions, but it's a little unclear what that is. And I think this isn't saying that there's a new Rotom, but rather there's just a way to get the Rotom forms. Apparently the leaker dropped a chili pepper, and that's a hint for a new Pokemon. Whether that's tied to the fact that we know that there's a fire and grass type Pokemon being added to the dex, I don't know, but a chili pepper Pokemon is something that I think a lot of people wanted for a long time. We have some hints regarding the starters based on emojis. Sprigatito has a magic wand emoji. Perhaps it has like the Delphox treatment. Quaxley has the dancer emoji, and Fuecoco has the singer emoji. So could these be based off of magic, dancing, and singing? I don't know, but it'd be very weird if Fuecoco started singing, to be honest. The coin Pokemon, which has been heavily teased and rumored, apparently evolves into a golden Ningen. I didn't know what a Ningen was, but by Googling it, it is a Japanese folklore. It's an aquatic humanoid whale-like creature supposedly inhabiting the subarctic oceans. It was invented by Japanese internet users. I don't know where to go with that, but maybe you guys have an idea. Regarding the map size, if you don't go into the sea, maybe it's a bit small, but if you go to the sea or the island, it's very big. Apparently Arceus is not in the game, and there's been some map leaks. However, I did not see the map leaks, so I don't have them to show you. But apparently the leaker posted the map and then took it down or something like that. Overall, the leaker claims that Paldea, which is the name of the region, which Pokemon for some reason has not announced, despite the fact that it's been over 6 weeks since our last trailer, is bigger than Hisui areas combined. So something to kind of set your expectations. Basically assume that the region of Scarlet and Violet is bigger than all of the areas in Pokemon Legends Arceus combined all in one. Obviously, we had to break them into separate ones in that game where you traveled to Jubilife, you traveled to the Mirelands, whatever. This game has all of that mashed into one and bigger. And only one Pokemon can follow you at a time. Like recent games, apparently they don't follow you indoors. The leaks keep on coming as Paldea and Tauros does not evolve, but it does have what is apparently a regional form. And I guess there's 3 different forms of this Tauros, and they live on different areas of the region. So that would explain the Riddler's riddles previously regarding Tauros and having 3 bulls. Tauros having 3 essential types or whatever, or 3 different variations. Apparently one form is a single type and the other 2 forms are 2 types. Furthermore, it says, looks like Cantonian Tauros is also in the game. We also know that there was a new Earthworm Pokemon, and that might have been teased in the trailer based on kind of this ground digging animation, which some people thought was Diglett, but now we think that that's water type, so on and so forth. But apparently the single type Paldea and Tauros is fighting, so Tauros getting a lot of love in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I love this. Apparently, like in Legends Arceus, Pokemon don't evolve automatically. You get to choose when you evolve them in the selection screen, which I thought was a really nice feature. And these flags that were shown in the second trailer apparently is related to the evil team, so we'll see how that all plays out. Eclipse reports on the fact that the experience share cannot be deactivated, which is a big miss from Pokemon and something they've kind of just done over and over again. And Joe Merrick reports on the fact we have our first images of the plushies for the starter Pokemon, Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley. I think they look very cute, and I'll probably add them to my office at some point when they announce the sales. But there was like a symphony orchestra that played the theme song of Scarlet and Violet. It was released today. There was no news outside of that, but they did reveal the plushies in that video. And last but not least, I think this is worth mentioning. If you've been following the Riddle and the leak community, there's clearly been a ton of drama between Centro Leaks and Riddler Coup, but no one really knew why. Just that the Riddlers seemed to be upset that Centro didn't give Riddler credit, and it became this whole big issue. And it seems as though, based on some screenshots we have, that at one point, from what I gather, Centro was originally getting their inside information from Coup or Coup's team, and then I think Coup wanted some of the spotlight or whatever it may have been, decided to start posting on their own and not rely on Centro any further. I don't know if that's actually what happened. That's kind of the assumption I'm making. But anyway, the Riddler has said that I'm done. This is it. I'm done. I'm over this. I don't want to post anymore. I'm not giving you guys more information. It's not fun anymore. Whatever. So at this point in time, while I did say in the previous video that the leaker Kaka was going to be done, they're still going, and the Riddler Coup says that they're done. But who knows if they're gonna keep going? I don't know. At the end of the day, like, I don't know these people. They're just people on the internet who are kind of hidden behind these anonymous accounts. And they may be nice people, they may not be, I have no idea. But at the end of the day, it's clear to me that they at least enjoy or appreciate the attention that they're getting, which I can't say I blame them. They have information that people want, they can share it, they get a lot of interaction as a result of that. I get it. But it's a slippery slope, obviously, as they're obviously somehow breaking whatever agreements they have and could potentially put themselves in legal trouble. So I don't know what this is all going to end up amounting to, but what I think it could end up being, and I think what we're headed towards, is a very, very dry few months, as it seems as though Kaka is probably going to leak more and more as we have so much information about this game at this point, and Riddler is probably going to stop, and then we're probably just going to be waiting for Pokemon trailers to actually see what the Pokemon look like, which honestly isn't the end of the world, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not too stressed about it. We got a lot of information. It's been really fun to cover. I still don't know what anything looks like. I still haven't played the game, so I'm still excited nonetheless, but it seems as though Kaka is going to continue to leak, and we're probably going to get most of the game's information before, you know, the month's end at this point. So that's everything to get you caught up on the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet news, leaks, rumors, and everything else in between today. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Thank you for 1 million subscribers. And don't forget to pick up the Pokeloot. There's very few available. It is our coolest Pokeloot yet. So grab it, rep Gen 1 today. Don't miss out. And that's gonna be that. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.